Implement is your local authorized John Deere dealer. Landmark's trained and certified sales staff will help you find the right equipment for your needs at a price that's right for you, all backed by Landmark's extensive parts and service network. Whether it's a tractor, planter, combine, an easy track lawnmower, or gator, every piece of equipment in pre-owned inventory is put through a rigorous inspection so it's ready to work hard for you. Landmark's team works together to make sure everything is sold meets their quality standards. Learn more at landmarkimp.com or stop into a local Landmark location and experience the Landmark difference.
When you think of places with tons of great beer selections and amazing food menu in Omaha, the conversation should start and end with Bearschen Beer Garden in Benson. With more than 30 beers on tap, including several German options, you're sure to find something you like. And don't forget their Nashville hot chicken sandwich or any of their delicious hamburgers. Start off with the warm house-made pretzels and you're on to a great day at Bearschen Beer Garden in the heart of Benson in Omaha.
Start your Sundays off right with Jeff and Nicole Essink on Fitness Fanatics. Jeff and Nicole discuss health and wellness, how to achieve fitness goals, and more through the life of gym owners and gym goers. It's Fitness Fanatics from 9 to 11 a.m. on Sundays on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
93.7 The Ticket, Fox, KFXL weather. Brought to you by Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing.
Your length of forecast for today, some areas of patchy fog possible this morning. Otherwise, we'll see mainly cloudy skies and a high of around 52. Tonight, a chance of rain. The forecast early, then patchy fog developing late. We'll see a low around 40. And tomorrow, more patchy fog possible in the morning, but mostly sunny with a high of around 54. I'm meteorologist Kyle Tucker for 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
This is the Happy Hour.
You guys going to happy hour?
Coming at you live from the heart of Lincoln, America.
Yeah, I'll come for a couple.
Here are your hosts, Nick Sainert.
I want to know what it's like to commit a crime without having to spend time in jail.
And Enrique Alvarez Clary.
C is for chunk.
Brought to you by Empire Fence and Netting on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Welcome in. Happy Thursday. This is the Happy Hour. 93.7 The Ticket, theticketfm.com. Nick Sainert and Rico hanging out with you guys as usual. A couple minutes early, but that's okay. As I had some character chronicles going on from 12 to 1. Rico, what's up?
Hello.
How's the day?
So far, so good.
How, on a scale of 1 to 10, how much does it feel like a Friday?
25.
Yeah, I totally agree. I was, AD walked out of the show today and he's like, all right, man, have a good weekend. And I was like, well, hold on, AD. You better be here tomorrow.
You better not be ready to go to a weekend. What are you talking about?
You better be here tomorrow. Raph won't be there tomorrow, but Raph's got to drive to Houston.
Sorry, what?
Drive. So here's why. And I commend Raph for this because he said, my parents want to drive. Mm-hmm. Raph's parents want to drive, mm-hmm. but Raph would obviously
not want to drive,
want to fly.
Yeah.
And he goes, I did it one time when I flew and my parents drove.
Yeah.
And he's like, we're obviously leaving from the same place. And he said, so I felt bad about it that time. Because it's I think it's like a 12-hour drive to Houston, potentially.
Like I feel like it's longer.
I've driven to Dallas.
Mm-hmm. I drove to Gray, Louisiana, and that was about like 20 some hours.
Distance from Lincoln to Houston. I mean, we could find this out really quickly.
It could have been less. I don't know.
12 hours and 42 minutes to Houston.
It was definitely less. I drove to Sacramento. That was 20 some hours.
That's brutal.
We stopped in we left Omaha. We slept in North Platte, and then we drove the rest of the way the next day. I don't know why we stopped in North Platte, but we did.
Yeah, you would have thought you'd stop somewhere in the middle.
Yeah, nope. We stopped in North Platte, then we drove the rest of the way.
Yeah. I was having this conversation. Maybe was it with you where I was like, yeah, after you hit like North Platte or even Kearney, there's just the drive to Colorado is the worst.
Mm-hmm.
Were we talking about that the other day? I don't know. 402-464-5685, the Honda of Lincoln hotline and the Starter Heyman text line. Both those open for you guys the entire show today, as well as the Starter Heyman Jewelers live video stream, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, and Allo Channel 951. Got plenty of stuff coming up on the show today. Nebraska basketball escapes what would have been a detrimental game to their NCAA tournament hopes.
It would have been bad.
It would have been really bad. That would have
bad.
been like the Kennesaw State type of performances.
Like,
or
I'm not going to say
UC
that it would have.
Irvine.
Yeah, I'm not going to say that it would have taken away all of the wins that you've racked up, but it would have. you have the good win against Michigan State, and then this would have been a really bad loss.
Yeah.
That I don't know if it takes it completely away. I guess depending on how Michigan State finishes the season, but it would have been pretty close.
I mean, here's the thing: Nebraska basketball, and we'll talk about this more in the 1 o'clock hour, and especially on the crossover with Strick and Austin. Is that they were in a spot a couple weeks ago prior to the Creighton game that they were receiving votes. This is a team that currently is a fringe top 25 team, is currently, if the season ended today, would be in the NCAA tournament, and would be, obviously near the top of the Big Ten standings. But I think you look at Nebraska now. What was last night? Last night is a game to where in February, if Nebraska's season goes as we hope or as we kind of expect it to, and they're in a spot to compete for an NCAA tournament spot, well, then last night now is a game that you just don't talk about.
It's just
nobody on Selection Sunday is going to be going, all right, what did they do against North Dakota? Oh, they were down 14.
It was a close win. There's no such thing as a bad win when it comes to Selection Sunday.
They figured out a way to
they don't
get
look
it done.
at they don't look at the wins and say, oh, well, they played this team close. No, they just look at the losses. So it doesn't matter as long as you come out of North Dakota with a win. They're not going to be talking about that in February. Now, if you were to lose, they're on Selection Sunday. They're like, well, this team did beat Michigan State, wherever they finished the season, but they follow that up with a loss to North Dakota on their home court.
Yeah,
not a good look.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Michigan State. I mean, once again, that's going to be a big win for Nebraska coming down the stretch, just because
it's a resume booster.
Yeah, I mean, when you can follow up, or excuse me, after you lose to Nebraska, Michigan State, that is, you follow that up with an 88-64 victory on a neutral site, nonetheless, which gives Michigan State more credit, and that in turn gives Nebraska more credit. Michigan State on a neutral court defeats number 10 or number 6 at the time, Baylor, 88-64.
Just routes them. Just destroys them. And then you look back and you go, wow, Nebraska did a really good job controlling Michigan State's offense.
Oh, how about this? Raph chimes in.
Oh,
says it's 14 hours to where he's going to South Houston. Just cruising south with the sweet voices of Nick and Rico.
Well,
thanks, Raph.
Are you including gas breaks, restroom breaks?
Yeah. I mean, here's the thing. You're going through Love's Nation.
Shout out to Love's
truck stops.
I love truck stops. Not Love's. I don't love Love's truck stops because I haven't been there enough to love them, but I do love truck stops.
Yeah.
Big fan. There's one in Iowa that we used to always go past when we were going to track meets for Kearney. We'd stop there all the time. It was a pretty big one. And they always have this case of all these knives. And there was one particular knife that I thought was really cool because it was like a dragon handle and it had like 3 prongs coming, but it wasn't like
it's the little things in life. It was just like you crazy, Rico.
You just grab it and it's just like you're just holding it and it's just like the 3 prongs. I'm like, that would be so cool. Like, obviously, I'm not going to use it, but I would just like have that like on my mantle if I had
always
a mantle.
wonder. There's rich people out there that have swords displayed.
I would if I had somewhere to display it where my kids wouldn't be able to touch it.
Yeah.
I'd get a samurai sword.
Yeah, swords are cool.
Ain't no reason for it. I just want one.
Unnamed texter says, tell Raph to stop at Buc-ee's. Raph. How about Raph chiming in? Says, have you been to a Buc-ee's, Nick? Now that is truck stop heaven.
Never been to a Buc-ee's, but I hear great things about them.
Man, but like Oklahoma, the state of Oklahoma was where Love's truck stops were birthed. They were born.
Okay.
Oklahoma. That's why Oklahoma City Thunder are sponsored by Love's.
You are right. You are
right.
Correct. Yeah.
So I think Love's have crept their way into Nebraska, but I like nonetheless
sure they have.
Yeah, I think there's some out west.
Just like people forget, Casey's was birthed in Iowa.
Birthed.
Yeah,
there you go. They were born.
We're not going to say created.
We can't say born either. Well, I guess so. Back to Nebraska basketball conversation before we get way off topic on truck stops. I don't know what the one out west outside of Nebraska City is when you're going towards I-29.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know the name of it, but that's a good one too.
That's a solid truck
one.
stop.
But nonetheless, back to Nebraska. Nebraska basketball, right? We talk about Michigan State, how they've been, benefiting Nebraska with some of their wins, with one of their wins especially. Now, when you look at the Creighton Blue Jays, that's a team, as an unnamed texter points out, is a team that's hurting Nebraska.
Yeah, what are you doing, Creighton?
I need you, aside from the Nebraska game, I need you to win every game from here on
every
out.
single game.
What are you doing?
Now, they did beat Alabama at home,
Good
which
for
is
them.
a quad 1 win.
Mhm.
They followed it up, though, with an overtime loss to Villanova at home, unranked Villanova. They had that earlier season loss against Colorado State. They had let's see, where else was it? There was another loss, I'm pretty sure. But nonetheless, now Creighton will go to Marquette on Saturday. Marquette, top 6 or 6th ranked in the country.
Yep.
Then they followed it up with a road game at Georgetown. And
That's
then
a win.
and then Providence.
Okay.
And then you got a couple unranked schools up until January 17th when you have to go to number 5 UConn.
Oof.
So you just look at some of these other things that are going on around the country and seeing, all right, how is this benefiting or hurting Nebraska? Well, you know how Nebraska can benefit themselves the most? Win,
baby.
And they've won 10 of their 12 games. You can't complain about that. They got a 9-day layoff, got a 9-day stretch where they don't have any games. They got to face South Carolina State on December 29th. That's their next home game, next game in general. And then it's the new calendar year, and it's Big Ten conference play.
There you
go. The
go.
bulk of Big Ten conference play. You got Indiana, you have Wisconsin on the road, and then you have number 1 Purdue at home.
That is a tough start to Big Ten play. But if you can get, I'll tell you this. Just on like an easy say, if you can get one of those, it'd be nice.
Well, no, hold on, Rico. I don't think 2 out of the 3 is out of the question. 2 of the 3 is out of the question.
Is Indiana top 25?
They are not currently.
Okay, but it's still a good team.
Mike
Trace is still there, right?
No, he is not.
He's not. Okay, no.
And
You got that.
Trace Jackson Davis has caused problems.
That's why I was
for years.
Yeah. No. Okay, then you're fine.
But now here's the thing: with those 3 games, if I had to pick 2 to have at home, or even 1 on the road, whichever way you wanted to do it, I would say I'd rather go to Wisconsin rather than going to Assembly Hall or going to West Lafayette.
You don't want that.
I do not want to go to West Lafayette.
You don't want to go to the
or
state
Assembly
of,
Hall.
You don't want to go to the state of Indiana.
No. So both those teams coming to Lincoln.
Yeah.
Coming to us.
I'd take that.
And plus, Nebraska's won at the Kohl Center. They won last year at the Kohl Center. So David Fullerton asks, is there a magic number of wins we need to make the postseason? And I mean, you look at last year, right? And Nebraska finishes 16-16. They had a tough ending in the Big Ten tournament where they lost in the first round to 14th seeded Minnesota in the first day of the Big Ten tournament. And we were saying, all right, if Nebraska can win 1 game against Minnesota, they would be then 17-15. And you felt like maybe that was good enough to sneak them in. Maybe. So I would say this year, I mean, you probably need to be in the 22 mark.
22 wins?
20 to 22 to feel really good about it.
I mean, obviously this is going to sound stupid and pretty obvious, but I mean, it just depends on who you beat, really. Because if you're sitting there at 17, 18 wins, but you have wins again, if you beat Purdue, if you beat Wisconsin while they're in the top 25, if you have, I don't know, let's say 3-4 top 25 wins.
But you have to be careful now, because then that means if you're beating those teams,
you can't lose
still on a fringe on the bubble. That means you're falling to the Minnesotas consistently.
That's
and
true.
you're losing to the Iowa Hawkeyes consistently.
I say if you get to 18 wins, you feel pretty. That's bubble material. If you're getting in the 20s, I feel like you're in.
Well, and that's the thing, right? That's where we're sitting here going. And I feel like it's okay to have this conversation right now. By the way, I need to do this. You're listening to KNTK FM Firth 93.7 The Ticket. We good? Is that the verbal?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. That's just our legal ID. We got to make sure we get it. But when I think when you look at Nebraska, they're 10-2. They've, after last night, have beaten so far still all the teams that they're supposed to beat, even despite how ugly and atrocious last night might have looked. You look at
aside from maybe the Minnesota one, but even then, I mean, you follow that up with a win against Michigan State and a win against who was it they played after Michigan? Or I'm blanking on the team that Kansas State. There you go. Kansas State. Yeah, sorry. Couldn't think of Kansas State. You follow up that loss that you probably should have beat Minnesota with a win against Michigan State and Kansas State. So that kind of evens it out a little bit, despite the second half complete collapse. But other than that, yeah, the teams that you're supposed to beat, those, I don't know, you call them bye games or whatever, those ones you've taken care of business if you're Nebraska.
Well, so here's the thing. I mean, and an unnamed texter makes a good point. The loss of Rink Mass last night was glaring, and we're going to get into that.
Yeah.
But back to the NCAA tournament thing, I don't think it's immature or premature to have this conversation because Nebraska does have double-digit wins, and we've mentioned it multiple times on this show. Where in year 1 and year 2, it was 7 wins each year for Fred Hoiberg, and then in the following year, it was 10. Like Nebraska is already there. Mm-hmm. They're there. So you look back in 2014 when Nebraska made the NCAA tournament. I want to say they had a 19-13 record. Yes, 19-13 overall. But you look at, as Rico mentioned, who maybe they beat. Well, you didn't have a loss to Western Illinois when you played them there. You didn't have a loss to South Carolina State when you played them that season. You were able to beat a Jim Larinaga squad in Miami on a neutral floor that day or that season. You were also able to close out the season. How about this? And I forgot about this accomplishment for Nebraska. You won 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 of your final 9 games. You won 8 of your final 9 games that season. Nebraska rattled off. This was Nebraska's end to the 2013-2014 season. It was a win at Northwestern, a win against Illinois, a win against Michigan State, who was 9th ranked in the country. I believe that's the Turan Petaway game in 2013-2014 when Turan Petaway just went off on the road in Michigan State. Then you had a home win against Penn State, a home win against Purdue. You lost on the road at Illinois, but then you finished the season with wins against Northwestern, on the road at Indiana, and then you beat number 9 Wisconsin and Frank Kaminsky in No-Sit Sunday. Mm-hmm. So you look at how Nebraska ended that season. They caught fire at the right time. Well, now, right, Nebraska Part 1 coming to this season, they are going to, I mean, they've caught fire. They're winning games at the clip they're supposed to win so far at the start of this season. Now you just have to follow that up with Part 2, second half of the year, right? So if you want to sit here, this first part of the schedule is probably going to hurt Nebraska's resume rather than help it, because Michigan State's not a top 10 team like they normally are, despite them beating a top 10 team. Nebraska, when they've gotten beat, it was to a top 10 Creighton in an ugly fashion.
They were
and it was not a great loss at Minnesota.
That's the one you look at and you say, oh, it's on the resume. It says L to whatever number Creighton by this many points. You're like, oh, that's not fun.
So you look at Nebraska going forward, and this was also a year in 2014 when they did make the tournament. Nebraska lost I think this was when they were the 4th seed in the Big Ten tournament, if I remember correctly. Or maybe it would have been even a little bit lower. They lost by 4 to Ohio State in the Big Ten tournament. But that's what I mean. We've been saying it for months. Just get a rest, get a bye in the Big Ten tournament. Even if that's 1 day, if that's 2 days, we don't care. Get a bye in the Big Ten tournament so you don't have to play on Wednesday, and you can potentially avoid losing to a 14 seed in Minnesota. You can avoid. And frankly, have to, if Nebraska is playing on that first day, they're probably not making the tournament.
No, you do have to take into account, though. So a texter mentioned that the year that they got 20 plus wins and they still missed the tournament. How good is the Big Ten this year?
Bingo.
And that's going to be the tough part, because that's something that's out of Nebraska's control, and unfortunately something that could hurt them come down the stretch where they'll get to 20 wins and they have wins against teams that you're sitting there and you're like, wow, Nebraska went out and beat Illinois. Nebraska went out and beat Indiana. But when the committee looks at the Big Ten and they're like, oh, they're just beating up on each other, we'll give Purdue and Michigan State, depending on how, whoever, top 2 teams, top 3 teams, they'll get in. But, let's say Nebraska, if you're a top 4 seed in the Big Ten, you think that's enough to get in.
Well,
right?
And in years past, if you're a top 8 seed in the Big Ten tournament,
you're pretty solid.
You have a good chance, as barring somebody else winning their conference tournament at a lower level.
Yeah.
Barring and where they need to, they have to let the automatic qualifier in, but then also the number 1 seed from the AAC gets in over you, right?
Like a St. Mary's and a Gonzaga, where they're both really good teams, but whoever wins that, the WCC, the West Coast Conference, the winner gets in. That second place team usually gets in also.
So, I mean, you look, okay, so I just given a brief overview here, and before we get to break, a brief overview of the Big Ten standings, if you will,
Yep.
right?
Hit me.
It's a down year for Iowa. They're sitting there at 7-5, 0-2 in the conference.
Mhm.
It's a down year for Penn State. They lost Micah Shrewsbury, who's struggling at Notre Dame, by the way. They just lost to the Citadel, did Notre Dame.
Yeah, not great.
It's a down year for Juwan Howard in Michigan because you thought they were going to get Caleb Love, and at the last moment he flips from Michigan to Arizona, where he's being pretty successful.
Doing pretty well.
Down year for Maryland as well.
That's a weird one. I don't know.
But then you look up at the top, and you feel like the Big Ten's pretty strong, pretty deep this year.
Mhm.
Wisconsin's a top 25 team. Purdue's the number 1 team in the country. Illinois is a top 15 team. Northwestern has been in and out of the top 25. They're sitting here at a 9-2 record because they have probably one of the best guards in the Big Ten Conference in Boo Buie. Indiana's Indiana.
I mean, that's what happens when you play in college for 12 years.
Ohio State is 9-2, and Michigan State will probably make the tournament because that's just Michigan State, and it's going to be hard to keep them out. So you look at the Big Ten, and how many teams was that? Indiana, Northwestern, Illinois, Wisconsin, Purdue, Ohio State, Michigan State. That's seven teams right there.
Yeah, you just said if you're a top 8 in the Big Ten tournament, you have a chance.
There's Nebraska.
You have a chance.
It's not asking, like, once again, we're not asking Nebraska, and this would be an unfair expectation, whether it's at the beginning of the season or in the middle of the season here. It's an unfair expectation to sit here and be like, we expect you to be in the top 25% of the conference. Well, Nebraska's just not there, and that's okay.
Look, 50.
But hey, if you can be in the top 50, 60%, you got a chance. The only issue is the last 4 years, they haven't been able to get to that point.
If Nebraska
by the way,
can sit there.
Sorry to interrupt you, Rico.
Good.
What's funny about that 2013-2014 season also, there was a stretch in there where Nebraska lost 5 or 6 in a row. They lost, I think it was 5 in a row, where they had to play Cincinnati, Iowa, and Ohio State. They lost 5 in a row. Still was, as I mentioned, finished the season 8 wins out of their last 9 games, and they make a push for the tournament, and they get in. But then they get a tough draw to Baylor. It's one of those things where how can Nebraska figure out a way to continue winning games, maybe avoid some blowouts, even if they are facing some bigger teams. And it all starts in these next, just take it, obviously, like the cliche reference is one game at a time, but you can even break it up into segments, right? Like after the South Carolina State game, you could be sitting there going, all right,
this next 3 games
in the next
stretch.
3 games, right? When you're going to be facing two ranked teams as of right now on December 21st, 2 ranked teams, all teams with winning records in Indiana, on the road at Wisconsin, and then at home against number 1 Purdue. Take 2 of 3. Whether that's the 2 home games, right? Because that would be exceeding expectations. Because guess what? If you're unranked and you're taking 2 wins from 2 of the 3 fringe top 25 teams that you're playing, Nebraska's probably going to be the underdog potentially in all 3 of those.
More than likely.
So there you're doing something that the country, that the fan base, that the conference isn't expecting you to do, which would be in a way exceeding expectations, which then helps your resume. And it can cover up some, incidents and some it can be a band-aid for a loss against Minnesota on the road, Maryland at home, whatever the case may be. So it's definitely an exciting time, right? Yeah. We're having a completely different conversation if Nebraska is not able to come back by 14 yesterday.
Look, just imagine the past few years. What was the conversation we were having at this time last year, at this time 2 years ago? We're sitting here like, all right, well, if you can get to, 15 wins, then you're feeling pretty good on this. Like, Nebraska's already in double digits.
Well, and so like unnamed texter, Jeff in Lincoln, I had to look at it above previous text. He says, take the opposite. What if the Big Ten is down? It's time to win more games in the conference. Yeah, it's a huge opportunity.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying is the Big Ten is down. You're winning however many games, but you're still dropping a couple maybe that you shouldn't drop. And you finish the season with, 21 wins, but you have losses to Michigan. You have lost to Maryland. You have that loss to Minnesota. And let's say you drop like 2 more after that in the Big Ten. And obviously, let's say you don't beat a Purdue or a Wisconsin, those top 25, like solid top 25 teams. You're sitting there and you're looking at Nebraska like, they're okay. But just like that, I don't remember whatever year it was where they had 20 plus wins. It's like, well, the Big Ten sucked, so you're not getting in.
we're going to be, it's going to be, I mean, fascinating to continue to watch, right? And not to look too far ahead. January, like it is every year, is going to be such a crucial month for Nebraska because you're going to have the opportunities against the ranked teams, right? And whatever the case may be, if let's say hypothetically Nebraska is able to steal a couple against ranked opponents if they're at home, then you can sit here and say, all right, now we continue to be battle tested if you're Nebraska basketball because it's still road games against Rutgers. You still have to go on the road to the rack against Rutgers. You have Northwestern at home who's come in before and taken some from you.
It's the Jersey Mike Center now.
Oh, it's the Jersey Mike Center. That's right.
Mike Center.
What an atrocity.
But we're still going to call it.
Yeah, what an atrocity. I mean, you have a road game against Maryland. Like, you cannot, as what we're doing right now, as a member of the team, you cannot look too far ahead and be like, dang, number one Purdue. Why? Because it almost bit you in the butt last night.
Mm-hmm.
Looking far ahead.
I'd say step one is to get Rink Mass back to full health.
Absolutely.
Because as the texter says, that was glaring.
Yeah, big time.
That shows you, and we knew how important he was, but that shows you how important he is.
And like second half, Nebraska stepped up. Like that's the CJ Wilcher last night also that allows Juwan Gary to be in the starting lineup. And what I mean by that is Nebraska has to figure out a way to find a spark when coming off the bench. And there's a value, certainly, as we've seen in recent games, to where Juwan Gary coming off the bench can provide a spark that very few people can do on this Nebraska team just because they are deep. But if they're going to elect to start Juwan Gary, that's fine. But when Juwan Gary and Bryce Williams and Rink Mass and Keisei Tominaga is not on the floor, who can you sub in that's going to provide the energy?
Six-man CJ.
Obviously, Sam Hoiberg is going to be out there. But then also you have a guy that's in CJ Wilcher who has had somewhat of a roller coaster of a career.
Yes, no, not somewhat. It has been.
I mean, he started his career shooting it pretty well, had a pretty disappointing year last year statistically, except for the game at Rutgers that Nebraska won. And now this season has really carved out a role coming off the bench. And so Nebraska, it allows Fred Hoiberg, as we talked about yesterday, to mix and match, play with some lineups, have some fun, have some different guys out there. If he can either go to Juwan or CJ Wilcher, or hey, even Sam Hoiberg off the bench, and know there's not going to be this dramatic drop off from starters to role players.
That's six-man CJ that we need all year.
There you go. Not 16 points necessarily.
No,
just a bridge guy.
Yeah,
just somebody to kind of steady the ship. Just even when your starters are not out there,
you get those open threes. You got to knock them down.
And there were 6 guys in double figures last night for Nebraska. 6 guys.
That's something we said before the season. Is we're not sure who's going to be the leading scorer, but there's a lot of guys who can't score the rock.
And that's such a positive for Husker basketball because you're able to. You don't have to rely on Keisei Tominaga, and this is kind of a point I made on Monday. You don't have to rely on Keisei Tominaga to drop 25 a game. Like you don't need Keisei, despite his ability and despite the juice that he provides for an arena.
Yeah.
You don't need him to shoot 15 threes a game and expect him to make out 8 of them. Make 8 of them.
Would it be nice? Of course, but you don't need it.
And so just overall, Nebraska, it's not the Bryce McGowan year of where you need Bryce to drop 22. It's not the Teran Petaway years where you need Teran to drop 28 or 30. It's you can have 3, 4, 5 guys in double figures and feel pretty good that Eli Rice might be able to add you 5 and Sam Hoiberg adds 6 and whoever comes off the bench can drop 4.
You need timely buckets from those bench guys.
Yeah, just bridge. All right, let's take a break. Let's talk transfer portal. Chubba Purdy enters the portal officially. We all kind of saw this coming, especially
I didn't.
With some thoughts of, and obviously like there's rumors going around, but that doesn't necessarily matter. It's with the 2 quarterbacks that Nebraska signed. Chubba Purdy is moving on. We'll talk about that next, as well as a little bit of bowl season because there's a bowl game tonight. There's also an NFL game tonight. We got to talk a little Husker women's basketball, Husker volleyball. So much on the docket, so little time. Let's take a break. We'll continue coming up next.
Download our app by searching 93.7 The Ticket in your app store to stay in touch and listen all day long wherever you are. More of the happy hour is next on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
The holidays are right around the corner. This is a great year to give your family and loved ones the gift of shoes to encourage them to stay active. Fleet Feet Lincoln fits you properly for shoes, and they offer a free group that meets 3 days a week, plus other training programs and a walking group on Mondays. Get healthy, stay healthy with proper shoe wear from Fleet Feet Lincoln and a group of friends that will support you and keep you accountable. Start your health adventure at Fleet Feet Lincoln at 77th and Pioneers.
You're counting on your team to win, so why not prove it? At Warhorse Sportsbook, their win is your win. Put your money where your mouth is on nearly every sporting event. Use the Warhorse app to check odds and build your bets before placing your wagers in person at Warhorse Casino in Lincoln or Horseman's Park in Omaha, including live in-game betting. No bets, no glory. Wagers may only be placed on Nebraska-based teams when played outside the state of Nebraska. Must be 21 or older to gamble. Gambling problem? Call 1-833-BET-OVER.
At Koppel, during the holidays, we take time to cherish our terrific staff, community, and loyal customers that continue to drive that money-saving mile to Louisville, Nebraska. Hi, this is Sean Callahan. I can proudly say I bought my car at Koppel. If you are in the area, I invite you to stop by Koppel Chevrolet GMC's offices in Louisville or check them out online at koppelcars.com. On behalf of Koppel Chevrolet GMC, Merry Christmas and safe travels to all.
My dream was to work in commercial banking, but it required a college degree and I didn't have one. I found out that Doane had classes for adult learners on the Lincoln campus and online. So I earned my bachelor's degree, and 5 months later, I landed my dream job. I decided to continue my education, and now I'm working on my MBA at Doane. For me, the Doane experience has been life-changing.
When we're building homes for people, we're really trying to advise on the things that are going to create value so that when they go to sell it, they're going to have equity so that they can go build their second home.
Bob Benish of Aspen Builders, and they've built neighborhoods in and around Lincoln for over 25 years.
You know, the year has been a great year for Aspen Builders. We have had many repeat customers. We've been very blessed with great office staff, with great employees, and great subcontractors. We worked with a lot of new people building their dream home. We've built some great relationships. A lot of those relationships will continue. We'll be building them another new home down the road. So I'd like to take this time to wish all of our past customers and our future customers a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
Make your dream a reality and call Aspen Builders at 423-6811. Online at aspenbuildersinc.com. Your dream home is waiting at Aspen Builders.
Rosie Sports Bar and Grill. Open for lunch and dinner at 10th and P or at 1501 Center Park Road.
When you think of places with tons of great beer selections and amazing food menu in Omaha, the conversation should start and end with Bärschen Beer Garden in Benson. With more than 30 beers on tap, including several German options, you're sure to find something you like. And don't forget their Nashville hot chicken sandwich or any of their delicious hamburgers. Start off with the warm house-made pretzels and you're on to a great day at Bärschen Beer Garden in the heart of Benson in Omaha.
Landmark Implement is your local authorized John Deere dealer. Landmark's trained and certified sales staff will help you find the right equipment for your needs at a price that's right for you, all backed by Landmark's extensive parts and service network. Whether it's a tractor, planter, combine, an easy track lawnmower, or gator, every piece of equipment in pre-owned inventory is put through a rigorous inspection so it's ready to work hard for you. Landmark's team works together to make sure everything that is sold meets their quality standards. Learn more at landmarkimp.com or stop into a local Landmark location and experience the Landmark difference.
New year, new career. The new year is just around the corner. Why not start it off strong with a new career? General Excavating is looking for qualified underground utility project managers. Check out our website, generalexcavating.com, or call 402-467-1627 for more information. Happy holidays from General Excavating.
Herrick Services takes this time to wish everyone a Merry Christmas and Happy Holiday Season. They are thankful for many things this year and every year, and hope that everyone is able to enjoy time with family and friends during this joyful celebration. This important message comes to you from Bart and the folks at Herrick Services, your vending specialist here in Lincoln. Their quality service and expertise has earned them a fine reputation. That's Herrick Services, on the air because they care.
WWE Friday Night SmackDown returns to Lincoln. January 12th, 6:45 p.m. Pinnacle Bank Arena.
Let's throw down right now.
See Rey Mysterio, LA Knight, Bobby Lashley, The Street Profits, Charlotte Flair, Io Sky, Carlito, and more. It's WWE's Friday Night SmackDown in Lincoln, January 12th. Tickets start at $25 and on sale now. At Ticketmaster.
The dangers of secondhand smoke are well known. But what about secondhand aerosol, which is created when using e-cigarettes? Science already shows a secondhand aerosol can contain nicotine, heavy metals, and cancer-causing agents. Eliminating exposure to secondhand aerosol is an important step to keeping everyone safe. Breathe easier knowing the facts.
For help quitting, call the Nebraska Tobacco Quit Line, 1-800-QUIT-NOW, 1-800-784-8669. Paid for by Tobacco Free Nebraska. Aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
You're listening to The Happy Hour with Nick Sainert.
I vomited last night.
And Enrique Alvarez Clary.
I literally vomited. I threw up.
On 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Welcome back into the Happy Hour 93.7 The Ticket, theticketfm.com. We went way over on time there. That was technically not the 1 o'clock segment.
No, we were supposed to go short there.
Yeah. It was only going to be about a 5-minute conversation.
That's awkward.
Here we are. That's right. So that means this is quick. 402.
How dare you, Fred Hoiberg, in men's basketball.
Dang it. Why you got to be okay this year? 402-464-5685, Honda of Lincoln hotline, and the Starter Heyman text line. Bowl season fully upon us.
Bowl season.
Rico, are you involved in any pick'ems?
I didn't do that this year, and it kind of made me sad because I just didn't.
You just don't know? Do you know when bowls are?
No.
Okay.
No.
Well, there's one tonight.
Is there? Which one? Who's playing?
It's the Boca
Raton Bowl.
Yes, Boca Raton Bowl.
Who sponsors it?
You tell me. You're not going to get it.
Yes.
Roofclaim.com.
Don't even know what that is.
Roofclaim. Well, it's Roofclaim. Roofclaim.com, Boca Raton Bowl, USF, and our Russian coach.
Love it.
Versus Syracuse.
Well, obviously, I'm going to take USF.
USF?
Yeah.
I think I've got to go. I got to lean USF too. Frankly, just because of who the coach is.
We are USF. We do the knocking.
USF football head coach.
Love him. Can't remember his name, but I know I love him.
Alex Golesh.
Yep. Soviet Russia, baby.
Yes. That's right.
Look,
he was born in Moscow.
Yeah, he was. Hell yeah, he was.
That's right.
If you want a new favorite head coach in college football outside of your own favorite head coach, Alex Golesh is your man. Do I know anything about USF? Not a single thing. But what I do know is that their coach was born in Soviet Russia, and that's all I need.
He was born in Soviet Russia, went to Ohio State.
I mean, that one kind of takes him down a notch.
It does a little bit. South Florida is 6-6 this year. Don't forget, South Florida, this is when we found out he was Russian, was when they played Alabama.
Yep.
They were up on Alabama at half.
They should have won. They got cheated.
So Alex
I don't know
Golesh,
if they actually got cheated, but I'm going to say they got cheated.
He was previously the offensive coordinator at the University of Tennessee. So
I love everything about him.
By looking at him, you can kind of see he's Russian.
You can see the Soviet in him.
I'm gonna just bring this over, show this to you.
Yeah, let me know.
There he is.
Oh, that's 100% Soviet.
Yeah. We should just start grading the looks of coaches.
If you give him one of those cool fuzzy hats,
yeah,
100%.
Yeah,
that dude's drinking vodka straight.
Yeah, he doesn't even
with no chaser, no face, just straight up.
I would like and I don't think this will actually happen. If people are watching the game tonight, please tweet when the TV shows Alex Golesh.
Let me and Nick know.
Tweet a picture of me of it on the TV.
Yeah,
to Rico and I
at Radio Rico AC at Nick_Sainer. Please,
just like that.
Please, I just need random pictures of Alex Golesh popping up on my Twitter, knowing that you guys are watching the game. A and B, knowing that you were listening today, and know that that we want you to take pictures of Alex Golesh.
Person just randomly tweets us, "Hey, look at Alex Golesh.
Here's your Russian friend.
Thanks for listening today." I wasn't. Tomorrow.
The machine.
Tomorrow, it's the Union Home Mortgage Gasparilla Bowl. Georgia Tech.
Hold on. Before we go into that makes me sad because it should always be the Bad Boy Mowers Gasparilla Bowl. Always.
Yeah.
But now the Bad Boy Mower sponsors like the Pinstripe Bowl.
It is.
And there's no lawns in New York. So I don't know why you're doing that.
Union Home Mortgage, Gasparilla Bowl, Georgia Tech versus UCF. A Jeff Sims list Georgia Tech goes to a bowl game.
That's a lot of yellow. They're both like gold.
Gold.
It's like a gross gold. It's like a Grand Island gold.
Yeah.
It's disgusting. I think I'm gonna have to go with UCF on that.
Okay. There you go.
Yeah.
All right. Well, anyway, so that's just kind of a game to watch tonight. Once again, tweet us pictures of Alex Golesh
and the USF Bulls.
Unnamed texter says, I wonder if Alex Golesh, he even put the little accent, the Alex accent over the S.
I don't know what that's called, but thank you.
Tilde?
I don't think that's a tilde.
Anyway, I wonder if Alex Golesh will randomly leave to watch a hockey game.
I bet he does.
I
bet he has hockey in the locker room.
Yep. So there you go. All right, let's take a break. When we come back, we're going to talk Husker football as Chubba Purdy officially entered the portal. Plenty of stuff to talk about as we return. Husker volleyball has lost a couple of recruits. We didn't get to dive deep into that yesterday, but we got plenty of stuff on the docket. We'll come back and continue this conversation coming up next on the Happy Hour.
Follow Nick and Enrique on Twitter at Nick_Sainert and at Radio Rico AC. More of Happy Hour is next on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
The Mill Coffee and Tea inside our 93.7 The Ticket studio is now open 7 days a week. From 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. on weekdays and 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. on Saturday and Sundays, you can enjoy burritos, cinnamon rolls, fresh brewed coffee, delicious tea, or even their coffee and cream ale. Sold exclusively at the Ticket Mill location. Open 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. on weekdays and 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. on the weekends, right here at 1040 O Street in downtown Lincoln. When you think of places with tons of great beer selections and amazing food menu in Omaha, the conversation should start and end with Bärschen Beer Garden in Benson. With more than 30 beers on tap, including several German options, you're sure to find something you like. And don't forget their Nashville hot chicken sandwich or any of their delicious hamburgers. Start off with the warm house-made pretzels and you're on to a great day at Bärschen Beer Garden in the heart of Benson in Omaha. If you're not going to Memorial Stadium for a home game and don't have any travel plans for away games, there's a great place in Omaha to catch the action, the Inner Rail Food Hall. There's plenty of space. The Backstretch Bar has amazing game specials on game days. $15 Blue Moon and Bud Light pitchers, $6 margaritas, and $6 Moscow Mules. And if you're hungry, take in some of their great options from their game day pizza specials. Do football game day right in the Inner Rail Food Hall in Exarban Village in Omaha.
Bachelor's degree, and 5 months later, I landed my dream job. I decided to continue my education, and now I'm working on my MBA at Doane. For me, the Doane experience has been life-changing.
When we're building homes for people, we're really trying to advise on the things that are going to create value so that when they go to sell it, they're going to have equity so that they can go build their second home.
Bob Benish of Aspen Builders, and they've built neighborhoods in and around Lincoln for over 25 years.
You know, the year has been a great year for Aspen Builders. We have had many repeat customers. We've been very blessed with great office staff, with great employees, and great subcontractors. We worked with a lot of new people building their dream home. We've built some great relationships. A lot of those relationships will continue. We'll be building them another new home down the road. So I'd like to take this time to wish all of our past customers and our future customers a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
Make your dream a reality and call Aspen Builders at 423-6811. Online at aspenbuildersinc.com. Your dream home is waiting at Aspen Builders.
I'm Karen Carr. I've been a realtor for 31 years. When I made a company change 12 years ago, I chose Lincoln First Realty, now NP Dodge. It's the oldest independently owned realty company in the country. Since becoming NP Dodge, we've continued our tradition of community involvement. Our management and staff are always available to offer support in marketing, technology, social media, and educational opportunities.
Expand your career with NP Dodge. Call Eric at 402-434-2222.
93.7 The Ticket, Fox, KFXL weather. Sponsored by John Henry's Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning.
Your Lincoln forecast for today, some areas of patchy fog possible this morning. Otherwise, we'll see mainly cloudy skies and a high of around 52. Tonight, a chance of rain. The forecast early, then patchy fog developing late. We'll see a low around 40. And tomorrow, more patchy fog possible in the morning, but mostly sunny with a high of around 54. I'm meteorologist Kyle Clucker for 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
When it comes to tackling your fall projects, having the right equipment can make a huge difference. At Sunbelt Rentals, they have an extensive line of tools and equipment to help complete any job. From lawn and landscape equipment to hand tools, pressure washers, portable generators for you tailgaters, and much more. Sunbelt Rentals makes it easy to get what you need when you need it. Drop in to see the experts at 5450 Alvo Road in Lincoln, or visit sunbeltrentals.com today to learn how Sunbelt Rentals can make it happen for you.
Rosie Sports Bar and Grill. Open for lunch and dinner at 10th and P or at 1501 Center Park Road.
Where will your path take you, traveler? To seek fortune in a new career? Or on a journey to distant lands for a well-deserved vacation? Wherever you go, one distraction could spell disaster. You can change your fate, adventurer. Don't drive distracted. Paid for by the NDOT Highway Safety Office.
You're listening to the Happy Hour with Nick Sainert.
I don't believe you people.
And Enrique Alvarez Clary.
What do you mean, you people? What do you mean, you people?
Sponsored by Empire Fence and Netting on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Welcome back in. It's the Happy Hour, 93.7 The Ticket, theticketfm.com. Nick Sainert and Rico back with you. Same number as always, 402-464-5685. The Honda of Lincoln hotline and the Starter Heyman text line open for you guys the rest of the way here, as well as the Starter Heyman Jewelers live video stream, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, and Allo Channel 951, all at your service, as well as our Twitters, Nick_Sainert and at Radio Rico AC. All right, let's talk a little Husker football, right? Because Nebraska has signed a pretty intriguing class. Thanks again to Gibson Pyle for joining the show today or yesterday. If you missed any of that conversation, you can check it out on YouTube. You can go to the podcast page, whichever fits you better. But Nebraska otherwise signed a couple intriguing names, and Matt Rule was asked obviously throughout the course of yesterday's press conference about a couple of them. And obviously, Dylan Raiola being the headliner, we saw earlier today, Dylan Raiola, in case you missed it, has already signed an NIL deal, Rico?
Yes.
For trading cards?
Yes.
I mean, that was quick.
Extremely quick.
Which, I mean, it's probably one of those things where he has it in place.
Oh, it's definitely been in the works for a while. I mean, I feel like if you're that highly ranked of a recruit, that you probably have some things in place. And especially since this is a national thing, this isn't like a place in Georgia or a place in Nebraska or a place in Ohio that would have done this. Although I don't know where Panini America is based out of, but this is something that he's probably been working on for a while. And it makes sense because a lot of people, especially, with the massive following that Nebraska football has, a lot of people are going to want those trading cards.
Well, and I mean, you look at some of the other names that Panini America has done deals with, and it's Arch Manning, Quinn Ewers, USC receiver Zachariah Branch, who was a 5-star last year.
I'm like
Washington wide receiver Rome Odunze, who was a Bolitnikoff finalist this year, and Tennessee quarterback Joe Milton.
I'm 99.9% sure Lexi Rodriguez. I
That's
don't know
right.
if it's with Panini or if it. But she does have a card.
trading cards.
Yeah, I don't know who it was with, but I know she has trading cards, and they sold out like immediately.
Mm-hmm. I mean, here's the thing. Dylan is, and I kind of talked about this earlier today. You think about the NIL potential, and while the NIL potential was somewhat of a factor, probably not as big of a factor as a lot of people probably think. When talking about Nebraska football, there were opportunities certainly at Georgia because you are a high-ranked recruit and you are the quarterback. But think about Nebraska, right? The true essence of NIL is name, image, and likeness, right? It's not high-level recruit gets paid by a collective to come to a university, which is what we kind of always think about.
Yeah.
But at its core, right, on the positive side of NIL, it's that name, image, and likeness piece. What can you do in partnership with local brands, national brands, and local businesses to not only benefit you in a monetary way, but also benefit them in a marketing way?
Yeah, it's growing your own brand.
Yeah.
It's not being, with the collectives and the high level recruits, it's not pay for play. It's getting to a place, establishing yourself as a face in a community or a face on a team where people want to do what you do. People want to eat at places that you eat at. People want to buy things from places that you associate with because they think that you're an upstanding person or they think that you're a very fashionable person and they want to do the same things that you do.
So think about this. Obviously, there's the Husker royalty part where with his father being Dominic, but you look at Dylan, right? And the big thing that was always discussed when NIL became an actual topic was social media following. Yeah. Dylan Raiola has over 40,000 followers on Twitter, close to 40,000, I believe, on Instagram. I mean, you're looking at 80,000 people, give or take, that Dylan Raiola is going to be able to reach with a simple social media post. That's absurd. And not only to do it, yes, in Athens, Georgia would be one thing, but to be able to do it where Nebraska football is the main driver in this state. Dylan Raiola is now the future of Nebraska football, if you will. And everybody has known about Nebraska's need for a quarterback. But guess what? At the start from like January to August, before Dylan even suits up for Nebraska outside of the spring game, there's going to be massive opportunities for him to earn money. The same way Jeff Sims did. The same exact way Jeff Sims did. But then we saw that, hey, your play on the field does affect your NIL opportunities off the field.
Oh, yeah.
And this is where it sometimes can get twisted because people will say they're just here to collect an NIL check. Well, we saw it last year that, yes, you can get a check from a collective, and that's fine. That's part of it nowadays, and that's okay. But your NIL earnings off the field with local businesses, if you're not playing or you're not either a fan favorite, if you're not producing on the field,
if you're not popular, there can be people who aren't producing on the field but are very popular on social media, and that is a part of the NIL where you have built your own brand. You have your own, obviously, your name, your image, and your likeness that you have built out on your own, and then businesses can capitalize on that. Whether you're playing a lot on the field or not, you'll have the brand of yourself plus the brand of whatever university you're at to add on top of it.
I guess what I'm getting at is there were a lot of folks when NIL began that got fired up about they're going to only be worried about the money. They're not going to try to work hard on the field. And I think we've learned over the last 2 years is that success individually and holistically on the field will play a role in success in a monetary sense off the field through NIL deals. So here's the thing, Dylan Raiola, there's a huge opportunity at hand. There's a huge opportunity from January to August where the expectation is probably through the roof from the fan base. The excitement for Dylan Raiola is through the roof. The possibility and optimism is sky high as well for Nebraska football as a team. So there's plenty of time right there. But if he doesn't prepare in the spring, which I don't see as becoming an issue, knowing the family, as we've talked about extensively, with the family off the field, having an NFL father, growing up in a family full of athletes, right? You don't see it, as long as he does his job in the off season, it's only going to grow and continue to benefit in season. And it all works together. So take the collective out of it. That's not what I'm getting at here.
I mean, you've seen,
but then it also benefits local businesses even more, which is a good thing.
Yeah, I mean, you obviously these players have seen, they know about the NIL opportunities at different schools and what have you, and who's offering more or whatever. But they've also noticed that the better you play on the field, which includes, you know, all of your work that you do off the field to then produce on the field, can add to your NIL, you know, I forget words sometimes.
Value.
Can add to your NIL value. As you were just saying, you know, you look at a guy like, why is today such a hard day for me with words? You look at a guy like USC's quarterback that I can't remember, Caleb Williams, and you see he wins the Heisman, and then he gets deals with Wendy's and State Farm and all of these national brands. So it's obvious that his play on the field, him winning a Heisman, being, you know, the potential number 1 overall pick, these brands want to get in with him before somebody else does. So let's say Dylan has a great freshman season. You saw it with Adrian Martinez going into his 3rd year, because that's when NIL started, and he was getting, you know, deals. Would he have a deal with
Degree?
Degree, where they took a bunch of athletes, and he was one of them who had a deal with Degree. So again, it's the play on the field, and it'll help you out. So it's not always about the money, but even if it is, you're still going to have to play hard to get that money.
Let's be honest at this right now. As a man named Ashley goes, I need me a Dylan Raiola combo.
I think they might hold off on that for a while.
Well, maybe, but I'm saying, who are you more inclined to buy a combo that's a quarterback that's not a Husker legacy or is a Husker legacy?
They know.
There's little things like that we don't even think about as consumers that play a factor into value. And so from a monetary, point, Dylan probably made the right choice, but I think we can all agree, and the people that are closest to the situation can also tell you, he didn't make this simply on money and monetary possibilities, which once again, if you're a true fan at the core, you can appreciate that. As always, 402-464-5685, the Honda of Lincoln hotline and the Starter Heyman text line are open for you guys. Gorilla Bear asks, how soon until Gibson Pyle, friend of the show, has an NIL deal with a sandwich shop for the pile driver? There you go.
Good. That's pretty good.
We know a couple sandwich shops.
Yeah,
we're friends with a couple sandwich people.
Do you think he gets a deal with some hardware store?
Oh,
I think that'd be pretty good.
Power tools, Gibson.
Yeah, power tools. Definitely power tools.
Yeah, absolutely.
We should let him know.
Yeah, we'll have to tell him. We'll have to let him know on that. When we come back,
we're going to talk your money, young man.
Exactly. A little share. No. When we come back, we're going to talk. Nebraska has actually scheduled a visit with a current running back that's in the transfer portal. Big Bird sent us this. We saw a little bit as well. It's a guy that Nebraska fans are going to need to know the name of, because it's certainly a guy that I would put on commit watch after his visit. We'll talk about that coming up next right here. Happy Hour 93.7 The Ticket will be joined by Stricken Austin when we return.
Download our app by searching 93.7 The Ticket in your app store to stay in touch and listen all day long wherever you are. More of the Happy Hour is next on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
School taught you all about the 4 seasons: spring, summer, and so on. And then there's the way we really tell what time of year it is in sports seasons: football season, baseball season, or off season. But what's the chocolate season? Well, it's now. And now, and now, and always. Whether you're looking for a caffeinated pick-me-up on the way to work, a little snack on the way home, or you need the perfect gift that's sure to be appreciated, it's time for the chocolate season. 40th and Old Cheney, or order ahead at thechocolateseason.com.
Driving drunk puts everyone on the road at risk. In Nebraska, over 30% of all roadway fatalities occur in alcohol-related crashes, and every one of those could have been prevented. The decision to give your keys to a sober driver could be the decision that prevents a roadway tragedy. Help keep Nebraska roads safe and always drive sober. This message is presented by the Nebraska State Patrol and the NDOT Highway Safety Office.
The Mill Coffee and Tea inside our 93.7 The Ticket studio is now open 7 days a week. From 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. on weekdays and 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. on Saturday and Sundays, you can enjoy burritos, cinnamon rolls, fresh brewed coffee, delicious tea, or even their coffee and cream ale, sold exclusively at the Ticket Mill location. Open 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. on weekdays and 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. on the weekends, right here at 1040 O Street in downtown Lincoln.
Where will your path take you, traveler? To seek fortune in a new career? Or on a journey to distant lands for a well-deserved vacation? Wherever you go, one distraction could spell disaster. You can change your fate, adventurer. Don't drive distracted. Paid for by the NDOT Highway Safety Office.
Okay, it's time to sell the house. How do we even begin to choose from the hundreds of realtors in town?
Easy. We make a pros list.
You mean a pros and cons list?
No, just a pros list. We need someone with pro photography to showcase the house in the best possible way, pro marketing to make sure we get maximum exposure, pro negotiations so we know we get the best price.
This is one of those times where you already know the right answer, isn't it?
You know it is. Ben Bleicher and Professional Realty Group.
Contact Ben Bleicher and the team at Professional Realty Group of Berkshire Hathaway's Home Services Ambassador. Online at prg-ne.com. New year, new career. The new year is just around the corner. Why not start it off strong with a new career? General Excavating is looking for qualified underground utility project managers. Check out our website, generalexcavating.com, or call 402-467-1627 for more information. Happy holidays from General Excavating.
At Koppel, during the holidays, we take time to cherish our terrific staff, community, and loyal customers that continue to drive that money-saving mile to Louisville, Nebraska. Hi, this is Sean Callahan. I can proudly say I bought my car at Koppel. If you are in the area, I invite you to stop by Koppel Chevrolet GMC's offices in Louisville or check them out online at koppelcars.com. On behalf of Koppel Chevrolet GMC, Merry Christmas and safe travels to all.
I'm Karen Carr. I've been a realtor for 31 years. When I made a company change 12 years ago, I chose Lincoln First Realty, now NP Dodge. It's the oldest independently owned realty company in the country. Since becoming NP Dodge, we've continued our tradition of community involvement. Our management and staff are always available to offer support in marketing, technology, social media, and educational opportunities.
Expand your career with NP Dodge. Call Eric at 402-434-2222.
If you're not going to Memorial Stadium for a home game and don't have any travel plans for away games, there's a great place in Omaha to catch the action, the Inner Rail Food Hall. There's plenty of space. The Backstretch Bar has amazing game specials on game days. $15 Blue Moon and Bud Light pitchers, $6 margaritas, and $6 Moscow Mules. And if you're hungry, take in some of their great options from their game day pizza specials. Do football game day right in the Inner Rail Food Hall in Exarban Village in Omaha. When you think of places with tons of great beer selections and amazing food menu in Omaha, the conversation should start and end with Bearschen Beer Garden in Benson. With more than 30 beers on tap, including several German options, you're sure to find something you like. And don't forget their Nashville hot chicken sandwich or any of their delicious hamburgers. Start off with the warm house-made pretzels and you're on to a great day at Bearschen Beer Garden in the heart of Benson in Omaha.
Herrick Services takes this time to wish everyone a Merry Christmas and Happy Holiday Season. They are thankful for many things this year and every year, and hope that everyone is able to enjoy time with family and friends during this joyful celebration. This important message comes to you from Bart and the folks at Herrick Services, your vending specialists here in Lincoln. Their quality service and expertise has earned them a fine reputation. That's Herrick Services, on the air because they care.
93.7 The Ticket, Fox, KFXL weather. Sponsored by John Henry's Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning.
Your link to forecast for today, some areas of patchy fog possible this morning. Otherwise, we'll see mainly cloudy skies and a high of around 52. Tonight, a chance of rain. The forecast early on patchy fog developing late. We'll see a low around 40. And tomorrow, more patchy fog possible in the morning, but mostly sunny with a high of around 54. I'm meteorologist Kyle Clucker for 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
You're listening to the Happy Hour with Nick Sainert and Enrique Alvarez Clary.
When I gave you the cookie, I heard very clearly, I don't think about you, Schmidt.
Why would I think about you?
Because we're friends.
We're not animals.
We're men. The only time a man is allowed to think about another man is when that man is Jay Cutler.
On 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Oh, shenanigans once again, Nick.
What did I do?
We have the best. I keep telling my partner that some of the best footage that we could ever have.
Yeah. Ticket After Dark.
Air. Ticket After Dark.
Ticket off air
shenanigans.
Yeah.
It's so great.
Here's the deal, though. We'd all have to sign like silence forms.
Super NDAs.
Yeah, where it's like,
not
hey,
the
man.
basics, the super NDAs.
Like you cannot have any of these conversations off. Nonetheless, 402-464-5685. As you can hear, Strick and Austin have joined us now for the crossover. Boys, what's up?
I feel so distant.
I don't know
why. The laptop was here, so I thought someone was going to sit here.
I don't know
Strick
why.
had to plug it in.
Move over.
Yeah, it's all good. Too late.
No,
I'm playing it.
Austin,
I'm playing
over.
Like I was,
nope, too late.
Like I was trying to get the camera. I was going to use a different camera. And you sat all over the camera doesn't turn anymore.
I just set it there because I wanted to charge it up, and so that way we have good on the block content.
Fair enough. All right, fine. I'll slide.
Yeah,
slide.
Make your move.
So until
Transfer.
then,
Why don't you slide on
Stricky, just push it back. Just
Austin Norman transfer portal.
There you go.
Don't worry, I slid.
Transferring to Mike 2.
Ta-da!
Hey, there he is.
There he is.
I surfaced.
All right.
No, the game last night.
Yeah,
we're gonna get into it, but
yeah. Real quickly, we do need to, just since we teased it before the commercial break, we have to follow through on this. Sean Callahan of On3 has reported that Nebraska is going to host a transfer portal running back, and that is Dante Dowdle.
I like it.
And a running
big body,
6'2", 218 pound.
My kind of guy.
Dante Dowdle.
Tricky size.
He was one of the one of the top high school running backs, former top 150 recruit from the 2023 class. This is not a guy, I want to make it clear, not a guy that just sat. It was not one that got buried on the depth chart. It's that, hey, you know what? There was a lot of really good talent on the Oregon Ducks roster, and he just kind of got iced out for the Oregon Ducks. So he entered the portal back on December 15th, and Nebraska immediately emerges as the leader, I would say, for Dante Dowdle, the 6'2", 218 pound running back out of Oregon. In other news, Casey Thompson has officially entered the portal. But per a friend of this show, Pete Nakos of On3, Rico wasn't here. It was when Austin was covering.
He's not my friend. He's your guy.
He's our friend.
Our friend.
He's your guys' friend.
Pete Nakos of On3 says that returning to Nebraska is not an option. Confirming from a source, which usually means a member of the Nebraska Athletic Media Department, confirming from a source that returning to Nebraska is not an option for seventh-year quarterback Casey Thompson. So we can put that to bed.
All right. Done.
Put it to bed.
Done.
Please.
Leave it alone.
How many people thought that was a legit possibility?
A lot.
Too many.
Because I was always skeptical. Like, I'm not just saying that because the news came out, but we've had this conversation.
Yeah.
Like, I was always skeptical that was actually going to happen.
Let me tell you this. To me, it was like mafioso type of moves where you take somebody out into the desert and you bury it. That was dead.
Yeah. Well,
dead.
so
fair.
It was a mafioso move. Dead.
Now would it
on arrival?
It's a lot of desert.
Like would it have been a good situation for, you have young guys that are, have a chance to be mentored by an older guy? Probably. Like, and if Casey, not Casey,
Casey a quarterback?
Yeah, no.
Please.
If Casey,
Japanese Tua,
he don't miss.
If Casey wants, an opportunity to ease into a grad assistant type of role, like, yeah, it probably could have worked. There might have been some other factors there that we
could have
don't
been
know
Nebraska's
about.
Zeb Noland.
Okay.
Could have been.
Speaking of guys that might get let go, Zion Williamson, did you guys see this?
Mm-hmm.
So since he played in fewer than 29 games last year, the rest of the money is not guaranteed.
Based on his contract.
Yeah. The rest of his money is not guaranteed. So are we assuming that the Pelicans are going to waive him? Like, are we?
You never waive that guy.
No, you trade him.
Never waive him. Oh,
you
trade
never
him.
waive.
No, trade him.
You trade him
just in case.
Yeah. Man,
you got to get something.
Rico's
never
Knicks are in the running.
There you go.
I've wanted Zion and RJ to meet back up for
There's a
years,
lot of lefties on that
for
team.
years, but Julius is playing real well right now.
There's a lot of
lefties right now.
Could you imagine 4 lefties on that squad?
Is he gonna come off the bench? Because
He starts for Hartenstein.
No.
Yeah.
Hartenstein is the Eastern Conference Jokic. Watch out. Watch out. Isaiah Hartenstein, baby.
What you need to do is trade for Trey Jones from the Spurs. They just refuse to use him. Big Trey Jones guy. They just refuse to use him.
Trey Jones is good.
So
Trey Jones from Duke, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Trade for Trey Jones. Trade for Zion. Trade for Cam Reddish from the Lakers.
That one didn't work.
Defensive stopper.
Get
him back.
No.
Get him back.
You forget. He was there. It didn't work.
Add quickly, because Randall's out the door for this.
I do love IQ.
And then just watch out for Xavier Tillman. That's all you have to do.
We're not putting a Duke squad together. I'm sorry, that's not happening.
The Duke Knicks.
That team was better than Villanova.
Well,
they'd be better.
Sorry,
they'd be better.
They'd
be better.
The Villanova Knicks right now are putting together a
Nicanova?
beautiful,
Wait a minute. Where's my guy Ryan Arcidiacono?
He's on the bench.
Yeah,
Is he on the Knicks?
Yeah, he's on the bench.
He used to be a Chicago Bulls player. I loved. I
His
like
defensive prowess.
I
is
like. Well,
phenomenal.
yeah,
But
I liked Ryan Arcidiacono at Villanova. He completely torched Nebraska when they played at Villanova in the Gavitt games.
Now they throw him in games when it's a blowout, but Dante DiVincenzo, people are clowning that signing. My man's just hitting some clutch corner threes lately.
Yeah, same like Eli Rice. Anyway,
man,
shout out to Dante DiVincenzo.
How about
what?
A story that's not
the red assassin.
The story that's not getting talked about enough in the NBA is the disgusting records of the Spurs and the Pistons.
Oh gosh.
The Spurs,
What is it up to? 26 now?
The Pistons are
25?
2 and 25.
21 in a row.
But here's the thing. They've won 4 of their last 49. They are 4 and 49.
Hey, but the last loss, they only lost by single digits.
But seriously,
they're close.
Hang the banner.
Cade Cunningham
in
is
the opposite direction.
Yeah, seriously. Cade Cunningham's averaging 22 a game, and the Pistons are 2 and 25 this year.
Yeah, well, maybe you shouldn't put on all that weight, Cade.
But then here's another thing. The Spurs aren't much better.
Yeah, but they got
Spurs. The Spurs are
listen,
4 and 22.
people are
The Spurs are nasty. I mean, not in a good
way.
They're nasty. I watched some of their shooting, and I was like, are these guys professionals? Like, I'm talking about open. Like, and they're hitting the side of the backboard or missing everything. And I'm like, oh my gosh, how is this happening?
The best part of this, Greg Popovich is making $16 million a year. Monty Williams got that $13 million a year contract. They're paying their coaches $29 million to have 50 losses by the new year.
People are ignoring the Spurs record because they have Wemby. So it's just, that's all you see is
yes,
people somehow black out the record and they're like, yeah, but look at Victor Wembanyama. He's doing things that you've never seen. And I love when people are like, we've seen this before. We've seen this with Bol.
And it's a crappy year to tank. There is no surefire number 1 pick. And the big boards I've been reading say they wouldn't take a single player in this year's draft in the top 3 of any of the last 5 drafts, not in the top 5 of last year's.
Yeah, it's next year would be the year to tank. This year is bad. This year is a bad year to tank, which is why the Knicks are so good.
Nick doing quick math.
I say, what are we counting?
The Spurs have lost 20 of their last 21. They're 4 and 22, and they've lost 20 of their last. They had a 3 and 2 record.
Wow.
They were 3 and 2. They lost to Dallas on opening night, right? Then they won in overtime against the Rockets, lost against the Clips, won a back-to-back on the road at Phoenix.
Okay.
And then they've lost 20 of their 21.
The Spurs beat Phoenix.
They did.
Hang the banner.
Twice. Back in a row.
Yeah.
2 times
Early in the season.
In Phoenix.
Hang the banner.
Early in the season.
Hey, I'm used to terrible records of hanging banners, so go ahead. Do it. Go ahead. Why not?
I like you look at I thought, hey, yeah, the Bulls are having a bad year. Not anywhere close.
Will Memphis recover?
Yeah, Jaw's back. Man.
He looks good.
34 in the game winner, Stricky.
He looks good.
Your boy.
Yeah, my boy.
Yeah, but if he has 34 and still has to hit a game winner,
Jawick.
I mean, are they going to be okay?
Yeah.
They'll get 30 wins.
Dang.
The Knicks are going to have to put up 150 points a game.
Oh my gosh. The Wizards are 4 and 22 too.
Yeah, they're bad. Did you guys see
Jordan Poole's banana slip?
Dude. There are 3 teams with 4 or less than 4 wins.
Jordan Poole shot a 3, flopped to try and get the foul call.
Oh no.
He missed it. They got the other team got the rebound, goes to pass it down. The Wizards get the steal, give it back to Poole, slips on his sweat spot.
Here it is. Here it is. Oh no, here it is.
And they had the
Oh no.
wait.
Oh
Jacket.
no.
So
what a flop. That is a horrible
but
flop.
wait.
Give me a sec.
They get the steal. He gets it back. And he
Oh, my head. That hurts my
Smacks
back.
the back of his
Yeah,
head.
but two guys are on the floor. They're like,
No,
yeah,
but
we're
what
both
you
fouled,
should have
man.
saw is
That-
the meme.
Oh, that's great.
I sent it to all.
Yeah.
He's just standing there like, yeah, that one hurt.
You should have saw the meme though.
Thanks for playing.
The meme was like the ghost of
Draymond.
And they had Draymond. They had a ghost of Draymond
Dang.
swinging with a right and knocked him out.
That team is the most unserious team I have ever seen.
Yeah, I mean, Jordan Poole is kind of out of there. I mean,
Detroit.
No. Detroit's at least trying. Like Jordan
They're just
Poole,
bad.
Jordan Poole and Kyle Kuzma together on
Dude.
a team is just like, what? Why are we doing this?
Yeah.
Like
I mean,
you guys,
here's the
Kuzma's
deal.
walking up with his oversized sweaters, and Jordan Poole's like, I'm gonna shoot from everywhere.
well, here's the deal. Jordan Poole got that 123 mil guaranteed, and he's just like, yeah, I'm chilling.
Yeah.
I think
good,
it's like
man.
you were with the Warriors for so long, and now what you're doing in Washington, is this what they taught you? Because I highly doubt that. I highly doubt this is what you learned from Steve Kerr, Steph Curry, Klay Thompson.
goodness.
Here's what I'll
This
say,
might have been
and I
what you
want
learned from
Austin in
Draymond.
on this because this is my thought.
Never forget Jordan Poole at Michigan.
I'm looking at this situation and I'm saying to myself, you re-upped Draymond Green
Yes.
and moved him out, a younger, fresher body, because you knew something was loose in them screws.
Straight up.
And not in a good way.
No.
My man's only plays well when there's 10 sitting courtside.
When they're, and we're not talking about 10 people. We're talking about
dime pieces.
That's the only time he plays well. But you know what?
Dang.
IQ also plays well when there's 10 sitting courtside, but he just plays well regardless.
The thing about the Warriors to
Obi
me
Toppin
is
also.
that
Look out for him.
I love Obi
Big
Toppin.
Obi.
Obi would like to dunk if there's some 10s in the
Here's the
building.
deal. Enrico can tell you this from the draft day or draft year for Obi Toppin. Loved Obi Toppin.
Nick was big on Obi
I'll
Toppin.
never forget how much better he was than Luka Garza every year of his career.
Yeah, dude.
Obi Toppin
Obi was so good at dating.
If Tom Thibodeau would have just opened up the offense and let Obi run, just let Obi run, they would have been so much better.
Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Exactly. Obi-Wan.
Anyway, all right.
Did y'all see Steph's moonshot on the offensive rebound against Boston?
But
I did
Ice
not.
it?
Did you
So,
hear the,
okay,
did you
so-
hear the call
so-
ruined?
No.
Boston
Anyways.
just can't get over the hump and beating them.
We need to have a discussion about that
That's crazy.
because there's something going on with Boston. But anyway, Steph has 13 points, 5 fouls, and Golden State's down 11 going into the fourth. Boston can't close.
And you
Steph
don't go
has
at
20 points in the fourth in overtime.
Jeez.
Derek White I'm a big Derek White guy. Former Colorado School of Mines guy, super
Ah, we
Division
played
2,
them.
Division 3.
One of my guys that I
New
like
Mexico
to,
Highlands.
I ran there.
Yeah, we used to go there.
Yeah.
one of the guys I like to draft late in the rounds in 2K and just chuck up threes with him.
They
Derek
lost
White's a
in
stud.
football, though. Shut up.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
Anyway,
course,
sorry,
Derek
sorry
White-
to completely get off track.
No,
there.
We got so off track.
That's what we do.
Shout out to
Let
Golden
him
Colorado.
That's
talk,
all we
Rico.
Anyways, Derek White just completely forgets that you have to face guard Steph Curry off of offensive rebounds. But here's the thing. How is Chris Paul getting an offensive rebound
That is-
against the Boston Celtics? He
that is a
dribbles
great
into
question.
traffic and makes a, pristine, point guard level skip pass. You can see Steph calling for the ball as he's out of bounds because he was the one either inbounding or shot it and faded out of bounds. Chris Paul gets the rebound. Steph has his hand up as he's out of bounds because he sees Derek White turn his head, lose him. White does a pretty good job recovering, but Steph shoots that thing probably 20, 23 feet up in the air.
Dirk Nowitzki
Cash.
style.
Yeah. Cash,
Dang.
4-point lead,
Go to sleep.
hits him with it.
It was he shot the ball from the corner because he tried losing him, couldn't lose him, shot the ball from the corner, it bounces. Chris Paul, like you said, don't know how he goes in amongst the trees, comes out with the rebound, kind of dribbles out, then dribbles right back into the paint. Like, what are you doing? And Steph, I think he fell, gets up, kind of fades up to the top of the key.
He
and-
lifts.
Yeah, and then
On the drive, he lifts up.
Chris Paul's just like, here you go.
Yeet.
And Steph's just like, Cash. Night-night.
Good night.
I've done that a couple of times. All right, guys. I mean,
you got night-night a couple times?
Yeah. Do you guys have a guest today or anything like?
We have Matt Rule out,
Okay.
Does that count?
Do you guys want to keep going here, or do you want to go on the show? What do you want, Stricky?
We're chilling.
We're chilling.
I want
bro.
you happy.
Listen, my voice was struggling today because I was over there You know, I came up with a name, the Slim
All
Reaper.
right, we get it. You called the game. No, I'm kidding.
You came up with the name, the Slim Reaper?
Yeah.
You did?
Never heard that for North Dakota.
I've never heard that before.
Hey,
North
okay,
Dakota Slim Reaper.
let's dive into it. Let's dive into the North Dakota game last night because.
Do you want to take a break and do that? Use that as our first segment of
Okay,
On
Austin.
Block? How about that?
All right, yeah,
we can
Austin's
join
like
you
that
guys.
substitute teacher, man.
Whoa.
Wait
Wow.
a minute.
No, I'm kidding.
The
I'm kidding.
animosity in
Calm
the building.
down.
I know. It just kind of came.
Hey,
I don't
Nick,
know what
let
happened.
Austin talk.
Whoa.
Let me keep sponsors happy. Let us keep
I
everyone
did.
in the room happy.
Did I let you talk?
You're doing great.
Thanks,
Austin.
Goodness gracious.
But it's 2 o'clock. That's my show.
Austin, remember?
First segment on the block. in just a minute.
Hey, remember when we had to do the show? We got to do the show.
Yeah, it was
together?
fun. It was a good time.
Gosh, I think it was much better.
It was great.
Anyway,
We were chilling.
look at Rico.
There he goes.
Go ahead, Austin. Take us out.
All right. We're going to be out here.
Good stuff as always. Thanks for you guys for hanging out. Good discussion on NIL. Good discussion on men's basketball. We went like 35 minutes on Husker Hoops in the 12:45 segment. We went like 35 minutes.
Yeah,
on it,
we
so
went way too long.
yeah. Anyway, when we come back, we're gonna either let these guys hang out. We're gonna stick around. Whatever Rico's heart desires. That's what we're gonna do. So we'll do that coming up next. Appreciate you guys hanging out. Don't go anywhere. On the block, Stricken Austin.
Adios.
Adios.
When we're building homes for people, we're really trying to advise on the things that are going to create value so that when they go to sell it, they're going to have equity so that they can go build their second home.
Bob Benish of Aspen Builders, and they've built neighborhoods in and around Lincoln for over 25 years.
You know, the year has been a great year for Aspen Builders. We have had many repeat customers. We've been very blessed with great office staff, with great employees, and great subcontractors. We worked with a lot of new people building their dream home. We've built some great relationships. A lot of those relationships will continue. We'll be building them another new home down the road. So I'd like to take this time to wish all of our past customers and our future customers a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
Make your dream a reality and call Aspen Builders at 423-6811. Online at aspenbuildersinc.com. Your dream home is waiting at Aspen Builders.
When it comes to tackling your fall projects, having the right equipment can make a huge difference. At Sunbelt Rentals, they have an extensive line of tools and equipment to help complete any job. From lawn and landscape equipment to hand tools, pressure washers, portable generators for you tailgaters, and much more. Sunbelt Rentals makes it easy to get what you need when you need it. Drop in to see the experts at 5450 Alvo Road in Lincoln, or visit sunbeltrentals.com today to learn how Sunbelt Rentals can make it happen for you.
Gary with Gary Michaels Clothiers Lincoln. As we celebrate our 40th anniversary, which started in Hastings in 1983, I often reflect on the Lincoln men's stores no longer here. They are McGee's, Ben Simons, Landon's, Rothschild, Sir Winston, Post and Nickel, Ragman, Murray's, Miller and Payne, and Joseph A. Bank. You know where I'm coming from. Gary Michaels has been battle tested, and we are committed to serve Nebraskans as your premier store for men for many years to come. Gary Michaels Clothiers, 56th and Pine Lake Road, Lincoln.
You're counting on your team to win, so why not prove it? At Warhorse Sportsbook, their win is your win. Put your money where your mouth is on nearly every sporting event. Use the Warhorse app to check odds and build your bets before placing your wagers in person at Warhorse Casino in Lincoln or Horseman's Park in Omaha, including